If you've been anywhere around Next Island, especially Thebes, you've probably seen these missions that reward something called a knot token. But what actually are these, and why do you need them? Well, knot a token, or mini Zeus shields as the description calls them, are basically a unique NI currency. From this point on, I'm just going to call them knots. There are loads of different missions you can complete to earn knots, and some of these give more than others. But don't worry if you can't buy anything on day one. That's completely normal. Knots are also untradeable, but the items that you get from these can be traded. Now, the maximum amount of knot tokens you can earn per day is 73, but you have to be a trueborn on Next Island and also have SVIP unlocked. If you're not a trueborn, then this cap drops to 69. And if you don't have SVIP unlocked, that number then drops down to 56 per day. So how do I become SVIP? Well, firstly, you'll need to have all 5 VIPs unlocked, and you'll also need the Becoming an Islander achievement. I've already made videos covering both of these, so I will leave links in the description if you want to go through those at your own pace. Now, the real question is, how many knot tokens do you actually need for the cheapest reward? Rewards range from 50 knot tokens all the way up to 2,000 knot tokens. And honestly, the easiest way to think about this system is like a fun fair or an arcade. You play games, earn tickets, and then cash those tickets in for prizes. In this case, the missions are the games, and the knots are your tickets. The smallest rewards are kind of like the cheapest carnival prizes, and the biggest rewards, like the Gorgon mirror, are the most expensive items sitting behind the counter. Rather than listing every single one of them, I'm going to go through the ones that I think stand out the most. Let's start with the cheapest hand-in, the carnival tickets. These will cost you 50 knot tokens. These are mainly used on Carnival Island for different activities and hand-ins. Next up, we go into the 150 knot token range. This is going to include your Gorgon shield, which is honestly just a decorative item. So if you are just looking for something for your house that looks pretty, this is a good option. However, I would advise you to save your knot tokens early on. The other thing is this fake Gorgon pill. They did take this one away for a few days, so it seems to be back at the moment, so get them whilst they last. This will allow you to turn into a Gorgon. This is a fake Gorgon though, so this one will have less HP than the other Gorgons. The other Gorgon pills here will cost you 250 knot tokens. These ones are slightly stronger, so it's understandable why these ones cost more. Let's move into the middle ground. These rewards are all going to cost you 350 knot tokens each. And this is where things start to get interesting, because you have your texture blueprints, your paintings, statues, clothing, and different kinds of furniture. Instead of going through all of them, I'm going to go through some of my top picks from each category. But I am going to miss out the paintings, the statues, and the furniture, as these are mostly decorative items. So my top picks for the blueprints is the Screecher Egg. This one uses all 42 crystals on Next Island, which is the only blueprint that actually uses all of the crystals. This one used to be given out with an Easter mission, and the only way you can get this blueprint now is from this knot token vendor. The next one is the Xmas Deer texture. I've talked about this one in the past, and this one is honestly the best one if you're trying to do a common dung gathering mission, as it's easier to actually loot these back from the blueprint itself. The next one on this list is the Hobolite armor blueprints. Specifically 2 blueprints, the Hobolite breastplate and the Hobolite arm guards. These 2 are 2 completely new blueprints. There is an old blueprint out there that uses old materials, but these ones have been reworked to use current materials available on Next Island. The only way you can get these 2 blueprints is from this knot token vendor. They should be dropping from crafting, but they haven't been. The next 2 ones are nice blueprints in themselves. They are very old blueprints that you could use to get from Next Island, but they got taken away, and the only way you can get these now is from this knot token vendor. The first one is Campbell's Basic Framework. This is a really nice skilling blueprint that uses Vibrant Sweat. The next one is the Elysium Power Sphere. This one is actually really helpful if you're trying to do any fruit gathering mission, as you can loot back fruit from this and it counts for the missions. The next reward is kind of a little bit different. This next one is the Stell Storage Box. This one is 20 item points, but it is only 50 kilograms. But this one's not as useful as one of the boxes that did get taken away. At this present moment, one of my favorite boxes is no longer obtainable as they have turned the vendor off. They turned this off when the Reckoning got released. But if it does get turned back on, this is the one that you'll want to go for. This is the Serpentine Anti-Grav Chest. This one costs you 350 NOT tokens, plus the Haruspex key. The Haruspex key you got from the Daily Maybe if you took the Anti-Grav Chest as the reward. The Serpent's Anti-Grav Chest is basically the Haruspex Anti-Grav Chest, but it is slightly cheaper to actually craft this one. After that, the price jumped pretty high, up to 700 knots. The first one I would actually recommend is the Trireme boat. This is actually a massive boat, and it is one of the coolest water vehicles I've ever seen in Entropia. If you have seen any of the ships at Thebes market, these are the exact same model that you will get as a vehicle. Keeping with the theme of vehicles, the Reckoning is on my top list. However, because Mindark has gone through a lot more balancing with this, I have no clue if this is ever going to come back. But it was one of the coolest vehicles that has ever been in the game. There is a replica of this at the museum that you can go and look at, and you can see for yourself what I mean by it being one of the cooler looking vehicles in the game. This costs you 700 knots plus a full TT replica eggs of the Ignis, Acid, Arcticus, and Tempest. The next one I would say that is notable to get in this category is the Tree Harvesting Shirt. This will allow you to spot trees for up to 100 meters away. Keep in mind that this is the exact same thing as the Tree Finding Corn Dog, and you will also have to still look at the trees to identify them. The next one is unfortunately in that category of still unavailable, but it is the Reaper 4. This one actually used 2 craftable limited Reaper 2 tools to make this Reaper 4 tool. Stats-wise, the Reaper 4 is basically the Reaper 3 with a higher TT. Then we move into the 1000 knot range. And honestly, right now, I probably wouldn't recommend most of these. The Ancient Greece Refiner is extremely expensive to use for refining, and I don't know whether they're actually going to fix the refine costs for this refiner. The next one is the Mutated Falcata. This is basically just a higher TT Falcata, but the only thing that is really cool about it is it looks like a golf club. Once we get into the 150 knot token range, this is where things start to really heat up. There are 2 items here that are worth mentioning specifically. One I would recommend, and the other I would not recommend. The one I would recommend is the tattoo. This one is one of the most sought after items, as it is a 10% movement speed increase, which is different from your run speed increase. You do, however, need SVIP to access the terminal, but the good news is these items are tradable, so if someone is selling these, you can actually buy them. Now, the one that I would personally avoid would be the Scourge armor. Not because it's bad, but because the individual pieces all cost 1,500 knots, which means it's a total cost of 10,500 knots for the full set. And finally, we get to the one that is going to cost you the most knot tokens. This one is going to set you back 2,000 knots, but honestly, it's one of the best looking items that you can get from these knot tokens. This is the Gorgon Mirror. This is not just a cosmetic item. This is going to give you a 20% skill increase to garment crafting. You will have to hold this item to get that increase, but honestly, it's totally worth it. If you would like to know more about the knot token missions, I would recommend going over to NI Helper and going to the latest mission page. This will then list all of the knot tokens you will get from each mission, as well as everything that you can buy from these vendors. If you have enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.